I just talked to the new guitar player from All Shall Perish. He says he's on a 15-day juice diet. Have you ever tried anything like that?
No, I haven't really. No. Yeah, actually, I was just talking to him too in there, and he was explaining it to me and James, our bass player. I think whatever. If you want to go after something like that, cool. And if it benefits you, we're all different individuals in the way our bodies function. Like within our band, I have a really high metabolism. It's like ridiculous. I can eat and eat and eat, and I don't gain anything, and I burn like that. So I guess it's beneficial in certain ways, but then too, I guess it might have its problems later on in life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially if you're doing the, what's that one where you eat all fat stuff? The Atkins diet.
True. Well, actually, that might work pretty good for me. Well, no, it probably won't, actually.
It's the one where you eat bacon, you just eat nothing but carbs.
Yeah.
No bread or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's no good.
No,
Now,
but that's good. You know what, though, we were discussing was, he was saying he's doing that, but he's home, too. And we're saying how much of a complication that would be to try to pull that off on tour. Because the availability of things and being able to do it, and constantly running from date to date to date, and then the availability of, like, places to get the stuff. And also, keeping things cool and stuff. You have ice chests, but then, on your constant cycle of running from each date, it's like, oh, you got to pull off, get ice again, this and that and that. And some people think, oh, well, that's no big deal, but, on the cycle of driving, like we played Vegas last night, and it's about a 9.5-hour drive. You play the show. We ended at last night around 1:30 a.m. After packing everything, it was about 3 a.m. So we had to be here for 3 p.m. So you got a 12-hour stretch, but with gas stops and everything, it ends up taking about 12 hours.
But do you have friends in every town? I guess you've been playing a lot through the years. Have you established some friends in each town that you could probably even call and say, hey, look, I need some heroin, or I need some kale or something like that?
I think nowadays, a little bit more. And even, with the possibility of, social devices like Facebook and stuff like that, you could probably be like, hey, I'm trying to do this new diet thing or this new regimen, and I want to see, since the road's, difficult, we tour in a van and everything, and I want to see if some of you people along the way can kind of assist. So maybe it can work out like that as well,
Yeah, the new way.
I think we're just a little lazy and we don't want to attempt it.
I think so. I tried juicing a pizza and it didn't quite make it all the way.
But wait, if you juice a pizza, that's just like grease, right? It's.
Well, yeah, but
you're gonna blend the pizza. You're just gonna have a little smoothie, like a pizza smoothie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I tried, but
yeah, that's pretty good actually. That sounds good. Maybe you might open a pizza smoothie place.
That is a great idea.
You can have different. Just the different flavors.
Pepperoni and sausage.
Yeah, the meat lover smoothie,
Absolutely.
I know this is probably so contradictory because the whole idea of a smoothie is supposed to be healthy, but
maybe it's for those with bad teeth.
Possibly, yeah.
Or
that want to acquire bad teeth.
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to do that. Now, GOATWHORE, there's a band from Brazil called Goat Penis. Are you familiar with that?
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brazilian death metal band.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We should probably do some shows with them. It'd be interesting.
It would be, and they have bullets in their logo too. Right. I thought maybe they were related to y'all at some point, but
maybe there are like maybe it's like Kiss. Maybe we're starting bands around the world and just giving it little alternate names, but it represents us in general. I don't know.
It could be. I don't speak Portuguese, so I wouldn't really know how to ask them that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm sure you could find somebody to help out.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Guys, Moonspell or something like that.
Yeah. Who knows? Anybody.
So, Blood for the Master. It's your 5th album.
Yes.
Came out last year, right?
February last year on Valentine's Day, actually.
And it's a little different than the one prior to it.
I guess, some people say that. Some people, think. I think it's the natural progression in what GOATWHORE is and what it's evolving to be. It's like if you listen to each record, it's just like an evolution process and how we're maturing as a band and things like that. And also, we had member shifts over each, over all 5 records. So that plays a role in your writing structure too, because you get other people in and their, influences are a little different and everything like that. So that kind of works into the whole structuring and writing style.
Have you shared writing with everybody on all the records?
I'm mostly, I'd have to say it goes like this. Sammy has a ton of riffs, and he has like, in the earlier days, it was like tapes and tapes and tapes of riffs. Just like a little jam box, put the tape in, hit record, write a riff, you know, and just tons of tapes, front and back, all of them, okay? Now, you know, we've kind of stepped into a new era, more modern. We have a laptop, and hooks it up and drops the riffs into the laptop, you know? So he has a lot of riffs like that, and then, you know, we sit down together. Him and Zach will sit down together. Him, Zach, and James will sit down together. All four of us will sit down together, and we'll go through the riffs, and we'll kind of pick out riffs, or he'll come up with a riff right there on the spot to mix in with the other riffs, and we kind of put everything together like a little puzzle at that point into how, you know, our liking, or however you may put it, and then, you know, the whole structure of the song goes. And Zach puts his whole drum situation around the riffs, you know, and makes it, you know, I really believe there's a huge element to drums that I think a lot of people, I don't necessarily think they overlook, but I think a drummer, you know, the credit to the drummer, because he can make or break a riff.
Sure.
You know, he can make or break the element of how a song is by the way the beat is in a song, you know. So even though he didn't necessarily write the riff and people think, oh, well, that's the song, right, and the drumming is just added thing, I think the drumming is just as much as a writing piece as the riff, because it, like I said, it can make the riff stand out even at greater lengths, or it could just kind of leave it where it is. And I think, you know, the ability of what he does working with Sammy with the riffs, it makes it jump out even more. So the cycle goes like that. And then when we get stuff that we're kind of, I mean, we could put things together and not be quite happy at the end, and we're like, all right, well, let's tear this apart, let's use this piece, you know. We write, like, because we want to have songs that when we play live, it's enjoyable. We don't want fillers. We don't want a record where it's like, these are the 5 songs that we're going to play live, these are 5 songs that are just on the record because we wanted to get a bunch of stuff together. Sure. We want to make it all to where eventually we play all the songs in a set at one point during the touring cycle.
Now, it looks like you put one out every 3 years. Is that,
yeah, I guess. I don't really like check the schedule. We just kind of, you know, within our procrastination and how we are and touring and things like that, it's just kind of, I don't think, we don't set it, you know, we don't have a set like, okay, we're going to do records every 3 years. I think it just kind of happened that way, actually.
And do you have any, is there one particular song that you're most proud of lyrically on this new album?
I'm actually pretty proud of a lot of it on this new record. You know, I think I like looking back at stuff. I really appreciate the first record all the way until now, because I appreciate the evolution and maturing process. You know, some bands will look back and be like, oh, that shit's so juvenile that we don't even play anything from those. I don't even want to consider those records of ours anymore. It's just like, I think they have a lot of stuff that's really impactful that can still be held up today, you know. So I look back and I'm like, I can see the maturing and the growing. I mean, you know, I'd love to be able to re-record all of it with the band that I'm in now, with all the members, and see how it would sound and the way, you know, production is now and the way you do things. But then, you know, you'll lose a little element to that, you know. Sure. But I appreciate all of it. I look back at it and it kind of teaches me. And sometimes I'll look back at it because sometimes it brings back something that I might have left behind in writing lyrics, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot, you know, I used to do this, but now it just kind of slipped away, and it kind of bring it back, reinvent it in a sense.
And is is your Rotten Records stuff still in print?
Yeah, the first 2 records. Yeah, it's just really difficult to get.
I mean, they're not making that. Rotten Records is no longer. So
no, it is. If you basically you have to go online, pretty much. You know,
I mean, get it from them online.
Well, the thing is too. I mean, if you notice when you go, stores are getting more slim, and even the bigger stores like Best Buys and things like that. If you go in, you don't see a lot of product anymore. You know, so product's fading unless it's like huge. You know, so. You just go online, and Rotten Records has a whole website, all their stuff they've done, and they sell all of it.
Right on. Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff. Excel, DRI, I think.
Yeah. And now they were like the catalyst with DRI back in the day. That's pretty much how it all started.
Rotten Records.
Yeah.
And do you have any current religious peeves? Is there anything religious that's getting your goat?
Not really. I mean, it's just the everyday thing that's already been going on for since the dawn of man. You know, it's still the same agenda that they're doing, and nothing's kind of changed really.
You've been doing a lot of touring. That's what you do. Last year you did Summer Slaughter. Now you're doing this tour of the Casualties. Has there been a highlight tour of the tours that you've done, or do they just blend one into the other?
They all have their own element to them, you know. From touring with High on Fire to touring with the Casualties, you know, to doing Summer Slaughter. Every one of them has a different element and a different look to it, you know. So I can't really throw one over the other. They you know. I mean, the guys in the Casualties, you know, a lot of people think that's an odd thing for us in the Casualties to be touring together. But, you know, it works really good. The shows have been really good, you know, and the guys are really fucking cool. So, you know, I don't really have no qualm with it. I grew up with punk, hardcore stuff when I was a kid. It's just that I guess somewhere along the path I kind of bent more to the metal side of things.
There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of, like hardcore punks, like Casualties, like touring at the moment that would bring metal bands on tour with them.
No, not really. You know, I think every now and then you have that. But if you look back in the day, you know, when they had the whole like crossover movement, they started doing that. It was like metal bands and kind of hardcore punk bands, and they were crossing things. Like even when DRI did the crossover record, you know, and they had Creator out with them. You know, it was a little variance. But you know, from the show I went to when I was a kid and saw that, it was like it went really well. The people were pretty fucking into it.
Right.
So, I mean, it gives a little difference, you know. I mean, when, you know, back in the day with Slayer was appreciated across the board pretty much. You know, they were kind of like the band that they were crossover, but not necessarily, because they had their style, it was set, but it was crossover in the aspect that so many different variants of extreme audience were into it. And you go to a Slayer show and it was punk kids, metal kids, thrash kids, you know, all this.
Mohawks, skinheads.
Yeah,
right.
It was just chaos, you know.
It was awesome. Now, have you ever attended any, like I went to an Aleister Crowley, like a mass type thing where there was a naked woman on the altar and there was people putting their hands in prayer positions on top of their head and reciting just you know, some satanic stuff. Have you experienced any kind of stuff like that?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't. I'm not really. Okay, within the band, Sammy is more of the satanic-based angle within the band. I have interests in like the dark arts and things like that. I've read about them, and I, you know, like within the new record, I got really interested in the beliefs and things like that around death and cults and things like that, because it's unique within like religious structures. You know, you have Satanism and everything, and then you have, you know, Catholicism, but recently, you know, before we did Blood for the Master, I started delving into the aspects that there's cultures and there's cults that believe that death is the higher power. And it kind of, and there's even variations within it. There's like leftist and rightist beliefs within that, you know. Even within any religious structure you have that, you know. So
sex within the cult.
Yeah, you know, you have a lot of different variations there. So, you know, it's really unique, and it kind of spawned a lot of ideas that were on Blood for the Master as well. So I don't really have a denomination within it, but I am more lenient towards, I guess, the darker aspect things of life and stuff like that.
And finally, can we expect Soylent Green to come back at some point?
That's a tough question, man. I mean, we got Brian's really busy with I Hate God doing a lot of things, and Tommy plays drums in Crowbar, and they're really busy with a lot of things, and of course I'm out here doing this. But we have talked about doing some things, and I guess it's all just got to kind of make its way. It's gonna, I guess, take a little time. So it's a complicated machine, you know. It's got a lot of crazy shit going on within it. So it's almost like the moons and all that have to align properly
right.
for it to go down. But I'm sure, you know, eventually it'll happen.